Everyone, welcome to Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. Thank you all for joining us. Had a little bit of a, well, it wasn't really a break last week. I was at a trade show which started on Sunday, which was a bit rude, but anyway, it was a good show. It was a good show in the end. Colby, it's just you and I. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, good to be here. That'll be
Good.
fun.
It looks like we coordinated our outfits, but we didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, why don't you kick it off? What are you wearing today?
Well, I have my newest, not my newest Christopher Ward, but my newest bel canto. I had the black bel canto, and then I gave it up for the dragonfly blue. And sorry about the focus there. Never know how to do this. Anyway, maybe that's the best we're gonna do. But yep, that's the dragonfly blue bel canto.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I am wearing my that Veya G2, that Quartz Veya that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago.
Oh
Really
yeah.
cool. I wear this a lot. I've been traveling quite a lot for work. I was been in Minneapolis and then I've been in Nashville and I've been wearing my Bremont and I quite like that Bremont. But everyone, like the watch people at work, every time I hand it to people are surprised, even though it's only a 40 mil, that because that bracelet's so chunky, people are like surprised at how heavy it is. I mean, I'm used to it now, but the bracelet is such a chunk on it, but it's still brings a smile to my face.
Wow. Well, I saw the Veyer. I really like that Veyer, and I agree with you. They're a good watch brand. I saw that Watch Chris reviewed that this
The
week. Did you see it?
mechanical one. Yeah, he reviewed the G. So this is the G2, the Quartz. And then
Okay.
he reviewed the mechanical. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I am interested to see whether I don't know if it's the same case shape or what the differences are, but I'm definitely interested in checking that out. But yeah, I really like this. The only thing I slightly would change is the crown. I like a big crown, but the crown is just slightly too big, I think, just proportionally. But other than that, it's just amazing what they've done. Amazing little watch. It does have that sort of homage vibe of the
Yeah.
original Explorer 2, but yeah, just a great bunch of guys as well. In fact, I've got something I definitely want to have a rant about. But what we'll do for this episode is we'll keep it. We did a Q&A like 2 weeks ago, guys. We really had a lot of fun doing that. So we'll do that again. So let me just say if you've got any questions, just type them in the question. Rob, it says, I'm glad I'm not the only person that's obsessed with watches. Welcome to welcome to WatchTube. We are definitely. Oh yeah, Mark's giving me some hassle that we were a couple of seconds late. Sorry, Mark. I think we were 3 seconds late on the going live, but thank you for being early. And then hello to Kevin. I'll tell you what, let me jump into my rant and then at least it'll fire us up. So I'm actually, in fact, Colby, have you ever owned a marathon watch?
I have. I owned the SS Nav in stainless steel for a while.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really liked it.
Yeah. So I actually like that watch, but I honestly think that it's on the higher end of that watch is now $800, and I really think that is very expensive for what it is. Because I've handled it a couple of times, no doubt it is a great watch. But did you see this limited edition that they've released this week?
I did not.
So they've released this. It's the stainless steel Navigator. Now, before I dive into this is the Quartz version. Now, Hodinkee have been very generous about this quartz movement. It is a high accuracy quartz movement, but they're almost saying in this article that justifies the price. So this is a limited edition. It's the Blue Yonder. There's a bit of history about it, which is really cool. But what they're knocking this out for, I think it's absolutely outrageous. They're knocking it out for $1,200. So your stainless steel Navigator, essentially with a different dial option and a high accuracy quartz movement, $1,200. Now, before anybody's like, "Hey, it's got high accuracy quartz movement in it," this high accuracy quartz movement is it's the F06. Well, it's on Caliber Corner here, so it's the ETA F06412. It's a high accuracy quartz movement. It's got something amazing like 10 seconds a year or whatever. But you can buy the movement on its own for $32, right?
Oh wow.
So what they're asking here is to put it into a stainless steel case with a dial. Yeah, it's got tritium tubes and stuff, but they sell the tritium tubes in watches that are like $300. But then to put it in a stainless steel case, for that pleasure, you're essentially paying 1,100 for the case and the tritium dial. I've already been feeling uncomfortable about how expensive watches have been getting recently. I went and looked at some Omegas recently, but I cannot honestly see what the justification for that being $1,200 is.
Is
But,
there, and I don't know this, when you use a quartz, a high accuracy quartz movement, is there some special way you have to put it in the case so that it maintains its accuracy? Is there something special about installing it?
very possibly. That very possibly. But Marathon have been making these quartz watches for a
I know.
generation, probably. So
Well,
if anybody can do it,
I also actually in Caliber Corner, what does it say the other watches it's used in are?
yeah, actually,
Because
I
I
think
I
actually Von
think the
Krug.
new Erebus quartz, I believe they're using the same caliber, and that
Yeah.
watch is 329.
Yeah, let's just have a look here. So it does. It usually says the movements, doesn't it? I did notice. I was looking this up on another watch, and I think Von Krul just mentioned one, the Longines VHP. It's actually in a Bulliver. It's in a Bulliver watch as well. Let me just let me just let me just remove it. I think it's in one of the Bulliver high accuracy quartz watches. Let me just check.
But not their high precision, their precisionist movement. That's separate.
That's separate. That's a separate thing. Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Yeah, and that Perrin supply that I showed, that's like a normal site that anybody can buy off. That's not like a specialist trade website. Okay. So here we go. I've got it. So it's in a lot of Satina watches. It's in the Tissot C Star 1000 quartz watch. It's in a bunch of Tissot watches. What did you mention? Probably Erebus wouldn't be on here because it's not a like a main brand. But let's
Right.
just see something that might be comparable, obviously without the history, but stainless steel case or whatever. So yeah, the Tissot. I don't
It's
know.
475 euro.
Yeah, yeah, and this is yeah. So they're making a big song and dance about it being hand assembled and all that. But the thing is that Marathon do make a watch, albeit with a plastic case, but they do make a watch that's $400, and that watch used to be $285 for like the longest time ever. That the polycarbonate case, and it's only recently gone up to $400. So I cannot imagine that this watch is wild speculation here. I can't imagine this cost them more than $200-300 to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm on a Discord. I'm on the Random Rob Discord, and there was one that was going around the Discord for a while in the for sale section. I had it for a while. I think I paid $400 for it. I
This
don't
is the
think I
same.
would pay. Yeah, I don't think I'd pay more than $400 or $500 for one of these.
No. I mean, and I've had they do make a GSAR. That's even gone up, but that on the bracelet, I think, is like 1,200 or something.
Hmm.
Rob. Citizen is a great bang for your buck, especially the quartz stuff. I review a lot of the Citizen stuff, especially. Also, you can get a cheeky deal on a Citizen as well if you shop around a little bit. So.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure Erebus released the same movement,
Let's
and
have a
they're
look.
charging They use the same case manufacturer. I think San Martin makes their cases.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I'm sure they do. I think it's the same for. I don't know this for sure, but I think Long Island watches
Yeah,
might have a.
F06.412.
Okay, let's have a look. So this would be. Do you know? Do you know which model it is? Is it?
Yeah, it's the Ascent HAQ. If you go to hover over shop at the top.
Okay, shop. Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look at this one. I mean, that's a good looking one. I mean, he's doing a good job of these. Oh, look at these are all
Yeah.
sold out. Good for him.
They said that the movements are hard to source, and they only got 270 of the movements.
Oh
So between
wow.
all these colorways, they only had 270 movements, and they sold out in 1 hour. I got 2 of them.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, because this looks very reminiscent of like early Grand Seiko, isn't it? I mean, these are only renders, aren't they? But that's a really good looking watch. Which one did you go for?
I got the blue
Oh,
enamel and the white enamel, both on the J style bracelet.
yeah, they're the pair, aren't they? Beautiful. What's the
Yeah.
size on them? What's the specification? 39. So yeah, I'm 45. Beautiful proportions on there. Yeah, same movement. Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, it just was something that really, because it was funny because I went shopping with Cheers Junior upvoted. Thank you very much. Yeah, I went shopping with a lot happened in the 2 weeks since we last did the show, and Seiko Todd was in town, so I went with him to the Disney Springs area, and we went into they've got a luxury of time, which is basically a Diamonds International. It's a Diamond International brand that they own, and we were looking at some of the Omega watches, and I've been thinking a lot about watch prices at the moment, because a Speedmaster Professional is like nearly $7,000 now, and I can't.
Oh no, it's in the Hesalite, yeah.
Are they still doing a Hesalite one?
Yeah, in the Sapphire, they raised it from 8,000 to 8,400.
Oh, let's have a look at that Omega. Let's just have a look at this, because this to me is absolutely wild, because it was only. Let me just. So I'm in the 2 register ones, aren't I? Excuse me. Just bear me a second. So let's have a look at this. So this is the Speedmaster Professional, 7,300. Yeah, and then this is with the Sapphire. So for a start, there's zero difference between these two, except for one has a sapphire crystal, and for that you're paying.
Well, you have the exhibition case back in the applied logo. Are the other 2 differences?
Yeah.
Very minor, but
yeah, I know. But I mean, 2 pieces of sapphire, I'm guessing, doesn't really. I mean, I don't know how much sapphire is, but I can't imagine it's the best part of $1,100 worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, this to me is wild. I mean, this is it's an amazing watch. I mean, I had a Speedmaster for so long with the Hesalite and so on, but I can't imagine this being in my mind, this is at most a $5,000 watch, just in my mind, because that's probably what I think it's worth, having owned it. And it's a beautiful watch, and I've owned one, but I mean, 7,300 for a Speedmaster. I mean, it's real. You wonder if there is some kind of economic downturn, or when there is one, what these big brands, because they basically don't have any of the grey market. They've kind of pushed that to the side now, haven't they? So
yeah.
I mean, what do you think about prices at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I mean, like Richemont Group, they lowered their prices. I know,
Yeah.
like IWC, their prices went down significantly recently. But with something like this, I mean, I guess if Omega can get away with it on one watch, it would be the Moon watch, since it's so iconic. But I got into watches in 2021, And when I was debating buying my first luxury watch, I almost bought a Speedmaster. And it was, 2021 is when they refreshed it. So in 2021, I would have been able to get a Speedmaster, exactly the same Speedmaster that I can get today for $6,000.
Yeah.
The guy at the AD offered me a discount for $6,000 for the Hesselite. No, sorry, not for the Hesselite, for the Sapphire, and now $8,400. It really is ridiculous. Plus, when you get that high, you get into Rolex territory.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you can't get a Rolex. It's tough to get one, but still, I I think they're pricing so many people out of this watch.
So you said from that was 2021. So if we
Yeah.
go, okay, here we go. Let's just we're gonna have a little bit of a scout on. We're gonna have a little scout on chrono here. So new 2025 Speedmaster 6,395. Let's just see what this one is. Speedmaster Professional. Steel to plexi. Okay, so that is already on a new one. I don't know if this reference in time. So already you can get $1,000 off it.
Yeah.
Going through a dealer. So let's just see. Okay, well let's just have a look if it's got the graph at the bottom. Oh, okay, hang on. Just let me log in. I just want to see what the trending, if there's any like trending comps on what they've been selling for, because that would be the pre-owned market's always the one, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look. So, okay, so 2021, where everything was going nuts, people were somebody paid 7,688 for one, which is a little bit over current retail, but then they went down to 6,289. And yeah, they've kind of stayed around there, haven't they? 6,000 to 7,000 mark. But the last one to sell, 6,450, 6,458. So this guy is actually priced it even lower than that, hoping to get a sale. So
Yeah,
that's interesting. So immediately it loses $1,000.
If you go look on some of the Facebook groups, or some of the Reddit groups, I mean, you can get this for around 6,500 brand new in box. So yeah, the white one is still pretty popular, and it's going for pretty close to for retail.
Yeah, Todd was trying on the Aquaterras, and then I forget the Aquaterra World Timer one, and again, like eye-watering for me, the prices of them. And it's funny because I actually even then in the store I got offered a discount on a new tag, like that new Aqua Racer, but when they offered me a deal in the store, like, because I was like, I really like the Aqua Racer or whatever. Then they offered me a deal at $4,000 including the tax, and it's it's actually 4,000 plus tax. So it wasn't a lot, but it was better. But that Aqua Racer, let's have a look. That Aqua Racer that I love, with the blue dial. In fact, I've got a bunch in my notebook. So let me.
Is it the one with the wavy dial?
Yeah. Look.
Oh yeah.
So this is why I've bookmarked this one, because this one is the actual GMT version of it. So the version that I think is 4,600 on like 6,400 in the stores, and there they want. Yeah, here we go. So I'm bouncing around all over the place. Sorry guys, but let me just have a look here. So Aqua Racer. Yeah, so 4,600. Actually, that's not a fair comparison. Where's the one with the one? Okay, so 4,400 just on the rubber, and I actually quite like it on the rubber. But already, look, nearly new 4,500. So you're looking at nearly $1,000 off it, and this is a professional dealer, 15 feedback, 4.9. So like new, unworn, 2005 original box and papers. So, I mean, $1,000 off a brand new watch. I mean, I think this is why I think the prices are very high at retail at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, according to the latest Morgan Stanley report, it's been 11 straight quarters of decline in sales. So, I think, and Pete's talked a lot about this. A lot of people have talked about this, that they're raising prices to compensate, and they're going up market. They're counting on selling fewer watches at higher prices, and of course, in the long term, they risk pricing out people and excluding new buyers from the watch market entirely.
Yeah, because this is the thing that's funny to me is they're not just fighting other watch brands; they're fighting the Apple Watch, for example, aren't they? I was at a sales meeting, met a bunch of like great like watch collectors, some beautiful watches people had, but most people, it was funny because you get into the conversation of oh, do you like, and most people who have the Apple Watch Ultra seems to be the watch of choice. Most of them did have luxury watches before they had the Apple Watch, and they've switched. I meet more people that switch from like a luxury watch, like a Rolex, to an Apple Watch than people that I know. A couple of people who got bored and they like wearing Apple Watch, but then they got bored with it constantly notifying them all the time. So they actually have gone. So I know a couple of people that have done that have gone that way, but there's more people going the other way. So the Swiss luxury watch brand, they're actually going for more. Oh, so Eric Grimes says that they have that tag for 6,300 on WatchMax. I've never bought. Have you ever bought from WatchMax? I've never bought from.
No, I mean, WatchMax is just like Joma Shop. I mean,
Okay.
they're a gray market dealer. I personally wouldn't buy from WatchMax just because you don't get the OEM warranty. Most of the
So
times, I
same as
mean,
Joma then.
yeah, yeah. Um, I don't. I mean, I know people who've bought WatchMax, and I mean, they're legit watches and everything. Like, um, but you just don't get that OEM warranty, and you have to have WatchMax service it.
Okay. Yeah, I think Joma Shop does something similar. Although I've never. Yeah, so 3,380. So yeah, that's 892 off. I know that Joma used to offer. Yeah, so he's yeah. So yeah. Oh, actually, it's even cheaper than that.
Do they have it in
3,000
stock?
Let's have a look. Yeah, add to bag.
Yeah, they do.
Limited quantity left. $3,465. Wow, it's wild, isn't it? I mean, I know
Yeah.
Joma Shop used to do that, but for the last couple of years, we haven't really seen anything like that, have we? We haven't seen like a real cheeky discount on them.
Yeah. Going back to, I guess one thing I have, if you don't mind switching gears for a second,
Yeah,
or,
absolutely.
or really going back to what we were saying earlier, I really am feeling more strongly that high accuracy quartz is the future. I mean, that's going to have a big future
Yeah,
in watches. Now that you have this ETA movement that, as you say, can be bought for $32. Um, and I think, like, every time one comes up for sale in any watch group, they always get snapped up. And Jody, like I said, those Erebus Ascent high accuracy quartz, they got snapped up. The 270 watches got snapped up in 1 hour.
yeah,
I mean, my wife got mad at me because okay, I better keep my volume down. But I bought one on my way home on my phone when I was in the car, because I had a feeling that they would sell out quickly, and man, 1 hour, that was crazy.
yeah. I think if that honestly, if that tag had like a quartz, I'm I've gone through a phase now of not really. I, I don't. I'm not as precious about the movement if you can't see it as I was in the past. I don't think I I've got no problem buying a quartz watches ever. I mean, I really like. Have you seen Razer have gone back to um have gone back to they've almost created like a G-Shock.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think they call them RZE now, don't they? But it used to be pronounced. They used to pronounce it Razor. I don't know if they still do that.
Oh
But
yeah.
this one's super cool. So
Yeah.
it's titanium. I mean, it's 100 on the 200 on the on this and 200 on thing. And this they're kind of taking on G-Shock, and then of course you've got like Elliot Brown that make those SBS watches that are really decent prices. I think they're better prices than the CWC watches. But so I think Quartz is having, maybe that's the other thing as well. We're going to have a Quartz crisis, but the mechanical brands have actually forced the hand now, rather than the first time in the 70s when it took them by complete surprise. Now, because they're pricing themselves out, maybe there'll be a speculation, but maybe there'll be a Quartz crisis, but of their own making.
Yeah. Well, I think actually I don't think quartz appeal. I think the key is the high accuracy quartz.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, that's what appeals to the same, engineering nerd that the mechanical movements appeal to, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, like the Airbus high accuracy quartz, they even have a see-through case back, and they got like a custom battery holder. And like if you have seen the Grand Seiko quartz movements, they have nice finishing, like they're
Yeah.
worth looking at. And then the technology, the thermo compensation, and on Grand Seiko, the thing that stops the second hand from bouncing back. I mean, all that stuff like just appeals to the inner nerd in me. And
Yeah.
I just think, wow, that's so cool.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, I've had the higher, although the thermocompensated Breitling, and I would buy a Quartz Breitling as well. Like, I don't think.
Oh yeah, I've been looking at the Endurance Pro. In fact, I think I'm probably going to buy that at some point, because I think that watch looks great. Von
Yeah,
Krull brings up the DS Action. Oh
yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you were
no,
going to
go
read this.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. He brought out the DS Action Quartz is a titanium watch, great in my opinion. And then, and about high accuracy, it's not that I need. Yeah, that is exactly your point, isn't it? Almost Colby just made it a different way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't need any watch, I guess technically, but I want something on my wrist that tells the time. And yeah, it's nice to know that it's going to be accurate within 10 seconds a year, or even 5 seconds with the
Yeah.
that Citizen, the Citizen line.
Yeah, I mean, and I think they must be. I'm guessing that the Citizen is doing well, because I think they even released some. I mean, well, first of all, it took them a while to go over to the US because they were out in Japan for a lot longer. But I
Yeah.
think they actually let me just find this. I think they've released some
What?
new ones even today. Or sorry, this week, not today.
Well, I keep trying to go to Certina's website. It looks like their website is down it won't
Oh,
load
really?
whenever I click on a watch.
Yeah, because they don't actually sell them really in the US, do they? There's no, US isn't like an official place for them.
Oh, Von Krull doesn't like radio controlled watches either.
No. Yeah, so these are all new, I think. This one,
Yeah.
this one, this one. I
And the
think
neat thing about those is those have a perpetual calendar as well,
oh. Yeah,
I
this is really
believe.
cool. I mean, this has got the Grand Seiko hands even on it, hasn't it? $4,000 for
Dauphine hands, yeah.
titanium 38.3. I'd have to try one on to see whether it was
Well, the thing that's keeping me from buying it.
the clasp, the non-adjustable
That's
clasp.
right. Yeah. If they had quick adjust clasps, oh man, I'd own that so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like them. I like that. I had the high accuracy. I had the F9. Is it Quartz from? I had the
Oh yeah.
Grand Seiko. I had the spring drive and the Grand Seiko, and there's just something off about them for me. I don't know what it is. I like the designs. I mean, the spring drive was too top heavy. It was way too top heavy, and but the quartz one, it was the proportions of them. I think it's also there's somebody mentioned the tag solargraph. The proportions of that, I don't mind like a small. I mean, this is a smaller watch than than the rest of my collection, and I've been wearing what was the other one? But it's like the proportions feel smaller than the dimensions on the solargraph.
Hmm. I got to tell you, I'm really yeah. Let's talk about what Von Krul brings up. He says he doesn't like the radio controlled watches. Now, I've had a Casio. I have a Casio a G-Shock that has the radio control, the multiband 6.
Yeah.
I've also had a Casio Oceanus that have radio control. What's your feeling about radio control?
Yeah, I review a lot of I review a lot of G-Shocks, obviously, and Casios on the channel, so I like that. I mean, there is a the most useful thing is actually an app on the phone that does simulate the masts, and I don't know whether I'm sure somebody I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but aren't they switching those off at some point? The masts.
The what?
I think they're switching the atomic clock masts off at some point.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm sure I read that somewhere. Let's have a look. Maybe I imagined it. If anybody knows in the chat, let me know. I'm sure I heard that at some point they were switching them off, but that's why why a lot of the brands have been going to that GPS one. Chris J said, "No, I don't, Chris. No, I sold it actually." Actually, I can talk more about it if people are interested why I sold it, but I like it. I don't mind it. I mean, I can't get good reception here. We're in Florida, and the masts are actually in Denver. So, but there is an app on the phone that works really well. And
Okay.
the only thing I would say about the watches that have it, if you're talking Citizen, I mean, I had a Citizen Field watch that had it. The watches that do have it, the only problem with them is not that they have it; it's that to set the watch in any other way is usually an effort. To set they usually have that as the way of setting the watch, and they make it quite complicated otherwise to set the watch. So
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing with it. But sometimes, especially if you've got, because it doesn't just set the time, it also sets the date as well. So
Yeah.
if you've got like one of the very complicated Citizen Pilots watches that's got all sorts going on, then to have that, to have that, and then maybe to have the app as well is a good way of setting it.
Yeah. Well, that's what Von Krul says here. He says, the thing I do like about radio control is that it provides a simple way to initialize a perpetual calendar watch.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use the feature to initialize a watch, then disable reception. Interesting. Because you do have to read those. You do have to definitely read the manuals to set those.
Oh yeah, on some of the Citizen watches, yeah. And that moon phase I had, the atomic would set the moon phase as well, so that was even more handy. I mean,
Wow.
I really like that Soyosa, not Soyosa.
Was it a Tessa?
No, it wasn't an Atessa one. It looks like an Atessa one, but it wasn't. It was called the Tsukiyomai, maybe.
Oh,
And but the problem is they use I don't know if you ever had this with a titanium watch where it just feels so light that it just feels weird. Like to me, it was so light a titanium that it just felt well. First of all, and then they have those. They've changed them now, thankfully. But Citizen used to have on their titanium watches that the watches were beautiful and the bracelets were finished beautiful, and then they used to put the cheapest looking pressed clasp on them that looked straight from AliExpress. Somebody just says GPS versus radio. That is what it is. So you have a watches. They're usually very expensive, but Seiko has one. Citizen make them where it actually receives off the GPS satellites. It receives the time. the time reception. In fact, let's just have a look at
Yeah.
you can use at G-Shock. I don't know if G-Shock used to have one, but they used to make them. But usually they're several thousands of dollars. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Super titanium satellite timekeeping. Here we go. So these are the Citizen branded ones. Yeah, usually super satellite timekeeping. They used to make a right song and dance on the dial about it. They used to have like GPS and stuff on the dial, but I think they've kind of moved away from that. But yeah, essentially it sets it from, and I think it's just, I don't know what the advantages are. Maybe it's
So
faster and
that uses GPS as opposed to like the atomic clock signal.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, satellite GPS timekeeping system with worldwide reception. So you're not just beholden to
Oh,
where the, because I think there's 12 of those atomic masts
yeah,
around the
and there,
world, and there's 2 in Japan.
but none in Australia. So
Yeah.
I know Jody's he's reviewed several Casio Oceanuses over the years, and he always comments on that.
Here you go. World's fastest timekeeping signal reception speed from GPS navigation satellite, as quick as 3 seconds. So that's the advantage of it. Seiko make Seiko make them as well. So let's have a look. Yeah, the Astrons.
Oh yeah.
Are I don't know if they're all GPS, but they certainly. Oh, thank you very much for not taking me to where I wanted to go. Say Astron. Here we go. Yeah, so there you go. So they actually add it to the dial, GPS on the dial. Yeah, so these like very complicated Astrons, which I love the look of these. I've just never owned one. These, and I think these are 2,700. So there you go. So usually the GPS timekeeping ones are. I mean, that is your pinnacle of timekeeping, isn't it? The
Right.
Quartz.
Do you feel like, well, Von Krull was mentioning earlier that he feels like it's cheating. Does that bother you, or like what's more satisfying to you, a radio control watch, or or GPS watch, or just a high accuracy quartz?
I mean, the thing with these GPS ones and also the atomic ones is actually the quartz movement itself on its own without that isn't typically that accurate. So let's just have a look. Yeah, so plus or minus 15 seconds per month
Oh,
without
okay. So it's
receiving
just a
GPS.
standard quartz movement.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah.
But it has the extra, GPS signal reception, time function, time zone adjustment. So I mean, this is a cool thing if you're traveling. If it can get the reception in 3 seconds, and you're traveling, you can just as soon as you land. I mean, even in the air, I guess you could do it because you can receive a GPS signal in the air. Although that might not be FDA compliant.
I noticed that Rob
not
C.
FDA, FCC.
Rob C. Shouted out the Casio Oceanus lineup. He said it's on another level. Sam, have you ever held a Casio Oceanus?
I haven't. I've often looked at them. I would own one, but I've just never. They're usually quite funky colors, aren't they? That they do for them.
There are some really sharp looking ones. I would own one if, again, it had a quick adjust clasp. Like I really like just the time and date only ones.
Yeah, have these got anything
Yes.
special timekeeping? They're atomic.
Those are radio.
Okay. Okay. Keeps. Oh, this has got the phone link app. This is the other way, isn't it? The other way of setting the watch as well,
That's
which
true.
is, and this the Casio app actually works really well. I've had it on a couple of the G-Shocks and I've reviewed it. Some of the health focused G-Shocks, it can be a little bit weird, but it does send a time signal every day. I've had the G-Shocks that the app sends the time signal. So I guess that is the other way of, other than GPS, I guess, that would keep the watch very accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I one of the reasons I know I keep talking about the Airbus Ascent high accuracy quartz, but one of the like my big problem with the high accuracy quartz is they didn't have any with great bracelets. And so as far as I know, the Ascent high accuracy quartz is the only quartz movement in a watch, or high accuracy quartz movement in a watch with a bracelet with an on the fly adjustable clasp.
Yeah. Well.
So, you know, that's why I got so excited about it.
Yeah, I'm interested to know when you actually get it. So Chris J says, I cannot bring myself to purchase any quartz watch. That's interesting,
Oh,
Chris. Why do you say that?
yeah.
I mean, I know if it's a preference, isn't it? But I think quartz, having a blend of quartz and mechanical is like, for example, I know this is quartz, but my Braymont is obviously mechanical. I traveled with it, and because it didn't really, I was in a lot of meetings and stuff, and it didn't really matter if it was, a couple of seconds out a day. Really, it was more just, just like a travel companion, and usually I'm most checking my watch when the plane is delayed and I've got to make a tight connection. So that's when it becomes like my entire life. But actually, in the in the actual day to day, you're just checking sort of round about the time, aren't you? It's not. I
Yeah.
don't work in a profession where you have to be, seconds accurate.
Well, Mark says earlier, Mark said that I love my quartz pieces, but admit that obsessive compulsive me still gets a bigger kick out of an accurate mechanical watch than an
Yeah, I
accurate
agree.
quartz.
No, I agree with that actually. And I've been put off quartz watches in the past that have been more than like 10 seconds fast or slow a day. If I can't alter them, like what was it? I had a watch once that was like 15 seconds off. And I think it's more, if it's off like that, I think it's more to do with and I'm talking luxury watches. Like if this is why I don't buy Seiko mid-range mechanical watches, because I don't like the fact that they are not accurate, and they look cool. The cases wear really well, but
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not paying $1,000-ish or $500,000-ish to a watch that a movement that Seiko cannot be bothered to
Like that,
regulate.
like the 6R movements.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that them just they would be better off putting a quartz movement in those if they can't be asked, if they cannot be bothered to check the accuracy when they're putting the movement in, and then they're just like, well, it's going to be like, could be 20 seconds fast a day. Just look at the
Right.
draw, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it just, and I know they're just, it's a mass production line, but just if you can't be bothered, just put a quartz movement in it. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the if it's a watch that's like 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, I actually look now to see if they're COSC, because, or if they regulate them, like Jack Mason, they regulate their movements, and there's a bunch of brands, because it shows that extra like level. I think care in regulating a movement of a watch and caring that it's accurate, that when it gets to the end user, actually impresses me more than some fancy polishing that they put on a watch, to be honest.
Mm.
I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question, because I bought recently. I bought my first Rolex. I bought the Rolex Submariner with the green bezel, and Rolex. I mean, I think their watches. I mean, their watches are famous for being accurate, right? The superlative chronometer and all
That was
that.
their thing, wasn't it? Plus or minus 2 seconds.
That's right. But even that, I mean, mine, I was hoping I'd get one of those. And, like I've seen some reviews of some Rolex watches, and they were like, oh, it was bang on, right? 10 days later, and it was bang on. Mine is running at minus 2 seconds a day, and which is really good. But there's something in me that wished it ran a little bit better.
Well, also they do settle down, don't they? I mean, I never judge a watch like brand new, because
Mm,
sometimes a mechanical movement will settle down. But it's funny that you hear that the most from people that I meet who have Rolexes but aren't watch people. They're like, they bought them because they were expensive. They're like, oh, it's not very accurate. And somebody said to me the other day, oh, well, yeah, and it kind of dies after a couple of days. It's like, yeah, that's kind of like how it works. But to like the normal person, that is like, because that was a huge selling point for Rolex, that accuracy. I mean, they used to wax lyrical. That was their original advertising campaigns were all about how accurate they were, because The other
Right.
watches at that time were sort of, rare, there or thereabouts. There was always, the jokes, weren't they? Like the old movies and stuff where their watches would be off, or they'd say, oh, if your watch is fast, put it dial down, or if it's slow, put it dial up, or whatever it
Oh,
was. There was several joke. There was a lot of jokes in old movies, wasn't there, about watches, or synchronize your watches before
that's
the
right.
mission.
Yeah, the
Uh,
military unit. Yeah,
yeah, military, yeah, there's World War II films or whatever. So
yeah,
that was, and Rolex were like, boom, we can get it 2 seconds a day, and it seems to have, other than obviously Spring Drive, which has got that accuracy. Um, so
yeah.
my minus 2 seconds a day is more annoying than plus 2 seconds per day. If it runs slightly plus, you'll pull the. Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually probably agree with that. I prefer a watch to be faster than slower. I don't. Do you think the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because like he says, you can just hack it for 10 seconds and then get it back on time.
Yeah, yeah. I think my Braymont's it's not 2 seconds. I think it's more like probably 5 seconds here or there. I need to put it back on a time grapher. That's one that did improve. I think a time grapher is like a bit of a blessing and a curse because you kind of have to learn how to use it, but also it can put you off a watch.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
I thought, like when I got my Rolex, I thought there was a brief time where I thought about, well, I'll just get it regulated. But then of course, if it's, I mean, A, it's running in spec, and B, if I were to send it to a watchmaker, you take the back off, you void that warranty.
Well, also, yeah, the regulation on a Rolex is it's the tiny weights, aren't they? They use
Oh,
tiny weights on the balance spring. It's not a dial up or it's not a screw up or a screw down. It's
yeah.
actually a weighted balance wheel that's doing it. I forget what there's a terminology
The
for it.
free
Maybe it's
sprung.
weighted. Yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
think, yeah. So I think it would I think you need a proper, and maybe a watchmaker can do it and it's no problem. But to me, it seems like a render. It seems like a lot more
Yeah.
complicated. Like on your Christopher Wards, if it's the Sleater, you could just, or even
Turn that screw.
the where they use the gooseneck movements on those, like I think the Zodiacs, and then even the um some of the movements, the STP-21,
The
is it that they
seagull.
use? Yeah, sometimes they've got the gooseneck on them, and that's just a little. You're just turning the screw slightly instead of moving the arms.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just see what
Let's
other
see.
comments are coming through. I actually went into Tudor to see if they had the Ultra, and they haven't got them yet. Not in the local Tudor near me. Have you seen one yet?
Oh,
You
really?
seen anyone that's got one?
No, I went to the AD, I went to the Mayors in the Tampa International like a week after Watches and Wonders, and they did have the Black Bay 68,
Yeah,
so I was able to try that on, but they didn't have anything else.
yeah. They had the tiny the new. Was there a smaller Black Bay? No. Was there like a small one they did? They had one of the new ones, and it was like a smaller Black Bay. Maybe it was
They did the new 58 in burgundy with a burgundy bezel and a
they had
burgundy
that.
dial.
Yeah, that's the one they had.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the Ultra, and I asked about the Ultra because we went kind of around several different stores, and this again is what I was with Seiko Todd on the Friday. I think he came in, so we looked around, and then with my wife because I've been trying to persuade her to get a Cartier tank, but she likes the gold one, and it's wild because she's obviously happy with Quartz. So the stainless steel Cartier tank is like 3,000. Let's have a look.
Eric,
3,000.
just real quick, Eric asked, "Did the 68 wear huge?" No, it didn't wear huge, Eric. I thought it wore nicely. I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and so definitely on the bigger side. It wore nicely on my wrist.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it bloody needs the date, that watch. I'm sorry, but it definitely needs the date. There's just
Yeah,
too much dial. I had the 58, and I think a lot of people buy the 58 and then sell it because it's yeah. Anyway, okay, so yeah, I was looking at the Cartier tank for my wife. So 3,300 for the stainless steel, but of course she liked the gold, and the gold one is $10,600. So
Yep.
stainless steel 3,300, gold 10,000. I mean, there is probably not even a half a troy ounce of like pure gold in there. Maybe a quarter because it's 18 karat, so it's a blend. A troy ounce of got pure gold is 3,300.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. Look, quartz movement, same thing. It's absolutely wild that watch is $10,600. But I think this is. I bet you they sell this 10 times over the stainless steel one.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
it's just like
Yeah.
Rolex, where they charge a premium for gold that's way beyond what it's actually worth.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this was the one that she really loved the look of, and I was like,
Yep.
because it was funny because I was like, we could probably afford this. We could save up and just buy this new because we were looking at some pre-owned ones as well, and it's hard to tell because some of the pre-owned gold ones were plated, and I think I would just have to immerse myself in Cartier tank kind of history in order to know what a good deal was on a used one. So I was
Yeah.
thinking like a new one, 3,300 is not, if I sold a watch or whatever, that would be out the realm of possibility because she would wear it to death. The cost per wear would be very low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably find one used and save up for it.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah,
I don't think
bleeds
they
away.
retain their value. Those gold ones.
Yeah, well, there was some plate. That's the confusing thing because they went through a period of like being gold plated, and you can get those for about 2,000, but then the solid gold ones, for some reason, they're up and down in terms of price.
Hmm. I just kind of a random one going back to Von Krull comment earlier. He brought up the Gerard Perregaux cassette wait,
Casket, yeah,
casquette. Have
yeah,
you seen that?
yeah. That's the one that Dave has, the driver's one. You've seen it. It looks like a
Yeah.
funky sort of space age one.
Okay. I looked it up and I'd forgotten, but it's like, yeah, one of those old Hamilton Pulsars.
Yeah, Dave Scottish Watches has one, and he raves about it. I think Von Krull was I think he was waiting for his for quite a while. I think he had it on pre-order for quite a while. Let us know, Von Krull, if that was the one.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah, it's just cool watch. I know would never wear it. There's certain watches now I know that I wouldn't buy because I wouldn't wear them. What was a watch? I was really tempted the other day to buy a watch, and then I was like thinking to myself, yeah, you probably won't wear that. It'd be like a safe queen.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I can't. Oh, you
Oh,
start.
okay.
It'll come back
No,
to me. I can't think of.
that would make a good discussion. Watches we love but would never wear.
Yeah.
Um, Watches we would buy but we know we would never wear them. Like for me, it was the Mad One. I had the Mad One
Oh,
red, and I mean I did wear it a few times, but when I wore it, it felt like I was trying to draw attention to myself. Like when I was just out, nobody I know is really into watches. Like none of my family or like friends. And so like I just felt a little bit silly because I had this spinning thing on my wrist and
yeah.
like I
The
didn't get
spit.
one comment the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not a. It's not a watch that appeals to me. I've remembered what it was. It wasn't a watch, but it was. I think I was at a meeting or something, and we were discussing the whole other world that I got. I don't drink anymore, so I'm not in this world. But this high end sort of bourbon, there's a lot of like bourbon collectors, isn't there? And it's the same thing as the watch world, where there's like limited production runs of bourbons, and there's ones that go. Obviously there's ones that are very expensive. And somebody was saying, oh, or husband or something, oh yeah, he'll buy them and not drink them. And somebody else like, oh, that's a shame, isn't it, to spend all that money on drink it? And I said to him, wait, and good job he's not collecting watches, because the amount of people that the safe queens that buy watches and just store the tens of thousands of dollars worth of Rolexes in a safe. I'm like, you'll be glad that your husband's not, that he's just left an $80 bottle of bourbon or whatever on the shelf and
Right.
it's not being drunk. But yeah, the watch world is like a whole other game, isn't it, in terms of in terms of monetary finance.
Yeah. One other, I guess, if we could, I guess the show has kind of become about high accuracy quartz. Um, one other one that I wanted to mention is just one that I'm really excited about is that new Grand Seiko spring drive movement.
Okay.
The ultra fine accuracy, the one they just released at Watches and Wonders, that makes me want to buy whatever it's in, especially if it's going to have that new toolless micro adjust clasp.
So this is
That is
achieved the
it's
world record mechanical accuracy. Is this one 30? Is it this one? Let's have a look. This one.
yes.
Plus or minus 20 seconds per year.
Yes, on a spring drive. Yep.
This is going to be absolutely eye-wateringly expensive, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I bet it'll be $10,000.
Let's have a look if they've got anything on here that says it. The platinum, yeah. So yeah, 39,000 for the platinum, and then 10,900 for the not limited edition one.
That's crazy. You just hope it filters down to the. I mean, you know, the current high accuracy quartz models and the spring drive models are all moderately priced. So maybe over time this will filter down to those.
Oh, I was going to say that's a thin watch, but the movement is 5. They've listed the movement separately at 5 millimeters thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, platinum. Yeah. Okay, so it's only 11.4, so it's probably not going to hang off the wrist like the one that I had because I had the.
Yeah.
But boy, yeah. I mean, they are beautiful watches, but I just can't. It's going to be a long time before I buy a Grand Seiko again. I think there's just something that just is. Maybe they're too perfect. Maybe that's why I like that Bremont, because there's so much wrong with it. There's so quirks. I won't say wrong with it. There's quirks with it, and I think that's maybe why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, so I have. Here you go. So Chris J says I have about 40 bottles of rum from different countries I don't drink.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
But is the like these bourbons apparently do go up in value, and there's because there's limited production runs. I bet you rum it. I bet you there's some, because I know there's tequila as well, isn't there? That's like the very valuable tequila that you can buy in store.
Okay. So it's like wine in that way, where you might have a 57 whatever, and it goes up. Yeah.
Cool. Huh. Awesome.
I don't drink rum myself, so.
Yeah, when I did drink, I didn't drink. I definitely like tequila when I drank.
Yeah.
And I would drink whiskey, Scotch, but not like it's not like wouldn't be like my drink of choice really. I would drink it if it was there, like some of the Scottish whiskies like Glenfiddich or Glenmorangie. But if I was at a bar, I would be ordering beer. I wouldn't. I wasn't like a Scotch drinker at a bar. But a lot of people drink old fashions over here, don't they?
I guess I'm not a drinker at all. I like stuff that doesn't taste like alcohol. So I like girly drinks and fruity drinks and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. And my wife makes fun of me.
Well, it's not bad. I mean, there's some nice cocktails out there. I drink mocktails when I'm out. It's ridiculous because you're paying sort of more or less the same thing, but without the actual alcohol in them. But
right,
like a virgin pina colada or whatever is almost the same thing. But it's
they are tasty though.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's really cool. Well, yeah. Even though where have put you now? I'm behind. That was really cool. Yeah. So thanks everyone for being so active in the comments and supporting us, even though it's just the two of us. But we really appreciate all the comments. Colby, thanks for joining me. And guys, see you next week on Casual Watch Talk Sunday Social. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.